In this short video we'll examine where wear happens on a chain. To settle this one is important because where most wear and tear happens on a chain, that's where our maintenance effort should be focused on. And then that's where the lubrication has to be the best. There are two competing theories. But the first one says it's the plates that wear out. Due to the repeated cycles of stretching and relaxing, stretching and relaxing, the planes wear out. And the other one says pins wear out due to friction. We'll look at it and we'll settle it real fast without taking any measurements. Let's start with plates. I made this foam plate here that would simulate a plate here for us. These two circles on it where the pins would go, and I made this square pattern on it to illustrate what happens when the plate is stretched, pulled by the pins, because that's how chains are pulled, by the pins. So when they are pulled, when you crank on the throttle, the chain plate stretches the most at its thinnest section in the middle, and it does it for the upper run of the chain, and then it goes around the engine sprocket, goes to the slack side and does nothing, just travels on the underside of the chain run and goes around the wheel sprocket this way, and then it gets a good amount of pull on it, and you can see the deformation here taking place. That's basically just exaggerating what happens on a chain plate. This kind of loading is called causing metal fatigue. It's a load, offload, onload, offload state, and is known to wear metal components out. But my measurements taken on these chains here don't really substantiate it. What I have here, this one, the golden one, is a length of chain that has never been installed. It has only been cleaned. And this one is a chain that has been stretched out to about 4 times its wear limit. I clamped them together so you can see the changes. We'll just get closer a little bit. I'll show you how the chains actually behave. Once you clean them up, it's gonna be pretty obvious what happens here. Okay, so you can see that the first pin is lined up perfectly well, so that the outside of the pins match up and the center lines match up. And what happens to the chain? So the old chain then is stretched out, so I'm gonna pull on this one and make it nice and flat, and I'm gonna stretch it out really well, and then we can zoom in, and when they are both straight both ways, there, by the time we get to the last pin, you can see pretty well that just over the length of 10 pins, that's right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 pins, this is the 10th pin here. You can see how misaligned they are, just over the length of 10 pins. And if I take it back to the first one, which is still clamped together the same state, you can see no movement has taken place there. So all the movement on this upper worn chain has taken place inside the chain, within the chain, and it is at the pins. You can see, and you can also hear that the chain actually compresses to a shorter distance, pin to pin distance, than the one that's brand new. They're about slightly shorter than the new chain, because the wear is uniformly left and right side of each and every single pin, and and that's some looseness that's inside the chain. You can check back the first pin, it's still perfectly lined up, no movement has taken place. And the new chain, it just doesn't do the same. It has zero play whatsoever. And on this one, you can see and hear that the chain links move and rattle at the pins. So inside, underneath the O-rings is where these pins run. Not underneath the roller, but inside the hollow pins. That's a sealed situation there, sealed in with lubricants, and you can't get to it. Not unless you destroy the O-rings, but the O-rings are there to protect the amount of lubricant. Lubrication aside, obviously there is wear on those pins, and eventually that wear is what makes the chain to be rejected and out of service. There's not a lot you can do about wear at the pins, because again it happens inside and underneath the O-rings and inside the hollow bushing, and that pretty much is controlled by the manufacturer. What you as a user can do is that you clean the rollers and make sure that the chain is lubricated here along the sides of where these rollers are and underneath the rollers. So to do that, you have to get rid of the dirt here at the sides of the rollers. Okay, that's a look at chain